Kupina kuphi makhaya amadolobheni asekomplasta khona sanibingelela ke ehlelweni Yilungelo Lakho, it's your right. Mina ke ngingisimphiwe ngqongwane. This is the second live show of the year and it certainly is my first. It's so good to be back. Sabonga kakhulu ukuhlanganyela nathi. Asasive ke indzaba yethu namhla ukuthi sini. Inyanga yangabhimbidvane January idume ngenyanga ke lethanza kwenyukela kubathengi labanyenti tidzingo timali tinyende kanti phela nemali ayisabonwa lesi ke bekuna nesikhathi lesibhizi nakulabo ke lababolekisa ngemali noma ke bathengi baboleka buthaphuthaphu. Well, according to the Credit Act, money lenders should be responsible when lending money. Now, this includes doing affordability assessments on consumers. But even when consumers are turned away, bakhona phela bomashonisa. Sixoxisene ke nalomunye labo mashonisa waseLimpopo asasimuva uthusini.
I've been umashonisa since ngisangena isikolo kahle kahle ngisho I think from 2007 ngisenza ugrade 10 le month esibhizi kakhulu kuleli business imonth kaJanuary kakhulu and mind you even December siyaba busy kakhulu ngoba sometimes ngoDecember abantu angazi ukuthi isuke yenziwa yini abantu abaningi uthola ukuthi abawathola amabonus abanye babheka ukuthi no sohola month end exactly maybe ama security every month kahle kahle because ngizwe kahle labantu bakufaka ku-budget. That means makaceda ukubhadala uthathe kunye makaceda ukubhadala uthathe kunye until wena uzofike kule point ukuthi uyamzwela njengomuntu ukuthi no sekwanele manje ungasanginikezi inzalo yaleyana sezonikeza inzalo kuphela ongasakhiphi the real amount yabona. Abantu engibashonisa imali abantu abasebenzayo imagine ushonisa idoctor ize ku waiting cela 1000 it comes back in 500 so uzowisa 1.5 so anyone who's not financially disciplined is my customer. I will say that anyone ongakwazi ukuneliseka is my customer. We need financial literate even in our schools whereby people, even in the workplace, I think the financial institutes should visit schools where they teach people on how to use money.
Hayi akusibo kuphela bomashonisa labangayendi ke i-affordability assessment. I-National Credit Regulator yona ithanza ke kuhlawulisa i-Shoprite 1 million rand ngebugebengu bekubolekisa imali phecelezi i-reckless lending. Nyalo ke bekunene kukhuluma kabanti nge-reckless lending asasimukele ke Liakat Lee Subrati lovela ke Credit Ombuds kanti ke akahambi yedwa ke uNadzadze Lebohang Selibi yena ke umele ke i-National Credit Regulator. A very good afternoon to you two. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Lebo ngidawucela ngawe ukuthi umvo wakho kule clip lena ke ithini kulo mashonisa lo?
Kule clip le umashonisa firstly in terms of umthetho wethu ufanele a-register no National Credit Regulator, and then on top of that le interest akhuluma ngayo ukuthi 1000 ubuya no 500 asisemthethweni because i-interest ye 1000 it's a short term loan of 5% per month, so yena kusho ukuthi ucharge 50% interest which is outside the law, what the law requires. So abathengi bayakhona ukuthi bangeza kithi bazo report such cases, and futhi uyasho ukuthi abantu laba ababolekisayo uyabazwela at the end because uyabona ukuthi umuntu wakhona sekakhamekile uyayenza na i-affordability assessment na uyabheka ukuthi angimnikeza imali uzokhona ukuthi ayibhadale na uyabheka ukuthi uhola malini ama expenses wakhe yini ama debts wakhe yini, because if usobona ukuthi umuntu anyeka sakhona ukubhadala umthetho uthi ungamnikezi any further credit.
Now, Lee, we've just heard the clip from one of the loan sharks from Limpopo who's saying that so many consumers who are not financially disciplined are actually his biggest clients. And I understand that it's quite a prevalent issue of reckless lending, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to consumer education. I mean, as a consumer, you only know if you're overpaying if you know what to refer it to. So, I mean, the very fact that he's alluding to the fact that the consumers are paying back 1,500 on a loan of 1,000, it shows that there's 50% interest being charged immediately right there.
Yeah.
But that's in great contravention of the Act. The Act is very specific on the types of interest charges that must be charged on things like your short-term loans, as my colleague referred to now, your loans for 24 months and 12 months. There's specific sort of requirements in terms of the Act, in terms of how interest is to be applied. Now, the unfortunate thing is a consumer that is unaware of what their rights are cannot obviously enforce those rights or cannot negotiate on better terms. And unfortunately, I mean, we do have the unregulated forms of credit. But I think it's about regulating and for consumer to be prudent and to know what they are entitled to and what they are allowed to be charged in terms of interest rates and charges in terms of a credit agreement.
So for purposes of understanding what reckless lending is, what really is it and what constitutes reckless lending?
So reckless lending will essentially be that a consumer would approach a credit provider or any person granting a loan to them. And in terms of after the affordability assessment, the consumer will be left with a deficit. That means after paying that particular loan installment, they will be left with a negative income. As an example, if a consumer is applying for a loan of 5,000 over 6 months, and that consumer has a disposable income of 400 rands, and let's say that installment equates to 600 rands a month, that means that consumer will be in deficit by about 100 to 200 rands because they cannot afford the loan installment. And that would result in them defaulting on the loan. So reckless lending would mean that a credit provider would not have taken the prudent steps to assess the history, the current and future prospects of that consumer meeting the demands of that loan and being successful in paying it back.
So is it only confined to companies or are individuals the culprits of reckless lending as well? For instance, if I lend 1,000 rand to my relative and then I charge him 200 rand, does that constitute reckless lending?
So it's important to note that the Act is very clear that a credit agreement is, or rather the Credit Act applies to agreements that are concluded at arm's length. That means two parties who have no obviously history of each other, they come together for the purposes of that particular transaction. But you must remember that parties that are dealing, for example, family members as an example, they can always put down on paper what sort of requirements or what circumstances apply to that agreement. And that can mirror the National Credit Act itself.
Okay. Now, Lebo, can companies or creditors or financiers use lead defense? They would say, no, this consumer was not honest in his dealings with that particular creditor. For instance, we're under declare, I would see, like in terms of my expenses, what should my expenses are less and by income. So can they use that as a defense? Would say, no, we didn't know because the client was not honest.
So umthetho lo National Credit Act, it's very straightforward ukuthi if ukhuluma manga ngama expenses wakho or ufaka ama expenses amancane or ufaka income enkulu, then immediately uluza protection. Kusho ukuthi anyeke khona ukubuya uthi it's reckless lending because uwe ophe information incorrect. So it's very important ukuthi umthengi emoye store bathi no decrease ama living expenses wakho because when uyayifuna loan decrease. It's very important ukuthi ucabange ukuthi in future just by the mere fact ukuthi uya decrease after boma 2-3 months uzosogola ukuthi raise imali leyo. So it's very important ukuthi uzoyiluza protection ye National Credit Act.
Okay. So bomashonisa bona, are they regulated or akhona nema plans ukuthi bata regulate in the future?
Everyone opana ngeskoleti a charge interest in terms of National Credit Act, fanele ukuthi asibhaliswe no National Credit Regulator, including abomashonisa laba abancane. Because ekuqaleni ngo 2007 when this act ibeqala beyithi nje if uzobolekisa imali eku 500 and below or ama credit agreements wakho it's 100 and below, awudingi ukuthi ungarejistara, but then it changed. Esesibona ukuthi kune abuse eningi abamashonisa abaningi abancane abaregistaranga and therefore baya abuse umthetho lo. So umthetho washintsha about ngo 2014 ukuthi wonke umuntu obolekisana ngesikoloto fanele ukuthi aregister as a credit provider.
What if it's private transactions? Asengibekise sikhuluma ngetitokfela, sikhuluma ngema society. Kuthi vele it's not something that is public. Kuthi titokfela bahamba babolisa kunoma ngangibani. So it's just transactions amongst group members. So logo ke is it also, I mean, does also constitute as reckless reckless lending?
Kuyadependa if istokfele eniyabolekisana kuyini kuphela ama-members andingi ukuthi any register as a credit provider, but once ama-members aphuma ayobolekisa abantu bangaphandle ababhadelisa i-interest, then kusho ukuthi you are a credit provider, bafanele ukuthi ebasibhalise no-National Credit Regulator. So it's very important ukuthi if enobolekisa phandle, then it means seni credit provider. But if it's only amongst ama-members kuphela, then you don't have to register nathi. Kusho ukuthi it's just a stokvel.
Now, Lee, do you actually agree with her that, I mean, she just mentioned some of the stokvels or societies or burial societies where they, lend money amongst each other. So if they take that transaction externally, then that constitutes reckless lending. But then if it's within those groups, then it's fine, is it?
You see, it'll be dependent on the circumstances. Like I'm saying, that stokvel could consist of only family members. It could consist of only friends that are within a specific circle. I mean, it all depends on who are we trying to protect here. I mean, in a stokvel, you come with a combined vision, you come with a combined sort of intention in order for you to walk away with a bit of money and to give you a bit of leeway if you're struggling financially. So the act is clear that if you charge 1 cent of interest, or rather anything above zero, if you charge interest, you must register as a credit provider, and the act will apply. But like I said, that if you are not dealing at arm's length, for example, if you have previous relationships, if you're a family member, if you're a cousin, if you're a close friend, then I mean it's questionable. One will have to look at the circumstances and look at what was the true intention of the parties at the time of concluding the transaction. But there's one thing to walk away, is that always ensure that you know what your rights are, whether or not it is a family transaction or not, so that you can be protected in the long run. Because remember, parties can always put down on paper what they agree to. And once you write down, listen, I am sort of subjected to this interest rate and this is what you can charge me only, it's something that can be regulated and something that can be enforced.
What are the consequences then of reckless lending on the consumer?
Okay, so we know that the Act says that, the Act specifically states that a court or tribunal can make an order of a decision on reckless lending, and it gives the court or tribunal various options. They can either suspend all or part of the credit agreement, or they can even rearrange the debt obligations of a consumer. So it is not automatically written off. It depends on the circumstances, to what extent. So the court will need to make a decision that's just and equitable in the circumstances.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Very topical issue, very, very relevant, especially manje njengoba kunguJanuary. You can also join in today's discussion. Ngekushayela ngecingo ku-0117146918 noma ke-0117146919. Ungasithumela futhi ne-SMS noma ke usixhumane nathi kona social media platforms. Asibambe khona lapho ke mbukele, siyabona khona nyalo sathi shwi asathitolo. Leli-ke bekunelungelo lakho, it's your right. Asiphinde sikomukele futhi mbukele. Singaqhubeke futhi nenzaba yethu-ke namhla. Asasive ukuthi lo munye mashonisa uthini.
Ngitsho ukuthi uceda uhola 2 days, after 3 days uyabuya kasenamali. Banokusokolisa sometimes, but umuntu makaba nenkinga uyeza kutshele, abuya lethi interest, ahambe abuye futhi azoyiqedelela kanjalo. Asifuni yonke vuyo. Eyam interest it's 50%. Not 600 rand, ibuya ne-50 rand. Amapenshina ayeza wona ngibapha imali eningi-ke, vele abathathi imali eningi. Angithatha amakhadi abantu ne? No, ngithatha amakhadi abantu. Angithathi i-ID yomuntu, angithathi ikhadi lomuntu. Omunye umuntu uthi ukuthi uzoboleka imali, uyibolekile kwebhuza, uyibolekile bumnandi. Omunye uthi ukuthi unenkinga kwamampela, ufuna ukuyisebenzisa for izinto zakhe zasendlini, or unenkinga mhlawumbe for abantwana esikolweni, transport, yabo. Kakhulu laba abasebenzayo banokukhala nge-transport yokugibela emsebenzini, ukuthi akanamali yokuya emsebenzini.
And inkinga lenkulu-ke lesiyadiko lena bekunene kuthathelwa ama-ID nemakhadi asebhange. Kusemthethweni lokho lebo?
Akusisemthethweni, kahle kahle it's a criminal offense, meaning ukuthi umuntu lo uthatha ama-ID or amakhadi angabopha aye ejele, or bangamfina 10% yemali le ayenzile within that particular year. So it's very important ukuthi ama-credit provider understand ukuthi it's not only contravening or NCA kuphela, it's also a criminal offense. So abaningi ebayabopha masenza ama-raid emasukuthola ophethe amakhadi cause asenza ama-rate sihamba namaphoyisa so mara uyabopha ngene evenini uye court so it's very important ukuthi abantu ba-understand abaningi babo bathi i-consumer yiyo engiphile ukuthi ngi-trust but at the end of the day kuzoboshwa lo uyiphethe.
So what if they use i-defense ukuthi no lokubamba likhadi noma lokubamba le-ID it's a form of security? So does the act have a provision in terms of security for the microlenders njengabo mashonisa nje?
Angithi emaboleka umuntu imali ufanele ukuthi ubheke ukuthi uthatha information yakhe ubambe icopy ye-ID uyakhona ukuthi umliste ku credit bureau uyakhona ukuthi uye court and then uzothola imali yakho so ukuthi uzothatha the easy way out ukuthi uzombambela ikhadi yakhe and IT payday ngo-12 o'clock ebusuku wena uyadraw imali umnikeza i-change it does not work because umthathela ama-powers wakhe ngemali yakhe meaning ukuthi each and every month uzobuya kuyo because wena you are only giving them change and in most cases le 50% le interest imali eningi so that's why abantu baba indebted kubo ukuthi anyeke asakhona ukuphuma because usekafasekile kubo because each and every month uyabhatala oceda ukubhatala uyabona ukuthi uyashort you go back to the very same person uyaboleka futhi so you are trapped awusakhona ukuphuma.
So kulama rates enu beniwena ke labo mashonisa yini imikhiba lenayitfola nje?
Kuma rates lasiceda ukuyibona khona manje incwadi in most cases ebabhale encwadini uyabona ubhale encwadini and then ama-interest abawachargeayo it's over what i-act is allowing i-50% leyo ukubamba ama-cards ama-IDs wabantu ama-SASSA cards abanye abantu babamba like ama-cellphone and so forth abanye babamba ney'moto zabantu so if we find ama-instruments ukuthi awufanelanga ukuthi ungawabamba just by virtue ukuthi umnikeze isikoloto so mara ezingishilo it's a criminal offense so sithola zona and then futhi enye into asitholi i-credit agreement i-act yethu it's very specific ukuthi if uyamboleka umuntu imali mnikeze i-credit agreement isivumelwano ukuthi nisayine noyi-2 so in most cases asikho isivumelwano so awukhona ukubona ukuthi what was agreed upon uthi ama-expenses wakhe imalini uthi uhola malini ayikho i-proof leyo.
So Lee, just picking up on that point, she mentions peer-to-peer arrangements that if I want to borrow money from a certain individual, it has to be written down. So who determines then the interest? Because she mentioned that according to the Act, it has to be 5%. So then who determines in this private transactions, who determines the interest?
So you see, like I mentioned previously, so it all depends on the parties. If the parties come together, even though it might not be regulated by the Act, they can put on pen and paper exactly what is to apply to the agreement. And they can mirror, they can mimic exactly what's written in the credit agreement. As an example, if I'm a person that comes to you on a recurring basis, the Act is very clear that if I take a short-term credit transaction, the interest rate is 5% per month, but any recurring agreement must be 3%. So the interest is automatically reduced by virtue of me coming to you quite regularly as a customer. So if parties come together, let's say, for example, two family members come together and want to borrow money from each other, there's nothing prevents them by putting in writing, say, listen, the interest rate regulated between us is 5% or 3%. If there's a dispute later on, it's that agreement that will be used to substantiate the claims of either party.
Okay. Now, we've seen so many big and credible institutions such as ShopRite, the Foschini Group, Adcon being found on the wrong side of the law, with the latest being ShopRite being fined R1 million by the National Credit Regulator. But this issue still persists. Why is it that we keep on seeing a continuation of these issues of reckless lending?
At the end of the day, it's about what facts lie before the person granting the credit. What we tend to advise consumers that approach us and request some sort of guidance is that ensure that you declare what expenses you have. Declare, for example, the bread that you buy, the milk that you buy, your groceries that you buy at the store. Those sort of expenses aren't, it's not listed on your credit report. It's not listed sometimes on your bank statement. Your bank statement may refer to a cash withdrawal of 1,000 Rand for you to purchase these things. Because the Act is clear that, and the Act specifies that if a consumer is not truthful in their disclosures, it can be used against them by the credit provider as a defense. At the same time, it's prudent upon a credit provider to take those steps. So we know that these occurrences happen. The question is that how can we better prevent it from the future, and how can we educate consumers to better inform themselves by taking credit that they can afford, but at the same time that they understand exactly what they're getting themselves into and whether they can afford it over the term.
Yeah, speaking of honesty, just picking up on Lee's point, or rather dishonesty, assisted consumer is able to successfully manipulate the process and under-declares his expenses and over-declares his income, yet uhola kancane, and then bamnike ke leyo mali, and then he claims reckless lending.
Umthetho ubeke ama mechanisms to also ukuthi ama credit providers ancedeke awayenza i-affordability assessment. Umthetho sine into esibiza ama expense norms. Uyasinikeza umthetho ukuthi if umuntu uhola i-500 rand, ama expenses wakho should not be below a certain amount. If uhola 10,000 and so forth, because iyenzani inceda ukuthi if umuntu uyanciphisa, if umthetho uthi if wena uhola i-20,000, ama expenses wakho shouldn't be less than, let's say for argument's sake, shouldn't be less than i-2,000. Wena if you insist ku credit provider uthi mina ama expenses wam it's less than i-2,000, then they will make you sign ukuthi cause umthetho uthi umuntu ohola imali ethize ama expenses wakhe there's no way ukuthi azoba less than this amount. Wena uthi less, then you sign. Then in the future at least credit provider uyenze i-homework yakhe, ubhekile credit report yakho, abheka ama expenses wakho as wena uwabhale phansi, abheka ne-income yakho. So
Asasike inkantolo declares ukuthi no, that was reckless lending vele in the first place. So does that mean ukuthi I don't have to pay back the loan? Is that loan
not
as good as a gift?
necessarily, no. So i-court izobheka ezuli ashilo ama circumstances, like in the case of ShopRite. I-court ithe uShopRite must go ayofuna i-debt counselor. I-debt counselor leyo izomitha nama consumers lawa one by one, abheke per circumstances ukuthi what happened, and then uzopha i-court i-evidence leyo, then i-court yiyo ezodecide ukuthi it's either baya suspender or baya cancela i-credit agreement. So there's no blanket cancellation.
Okay.
So it's case per cases.
All right, let's leave it there for now. Sikhumbule ke bukele ukuthi nawe ke ungaba ingcenye ke inkulumo yethu namhlanje kushayela icingo ku 011-714-6918 noma ke 011-714-6919. Ungasithumela futhi ne-SMS noma ke uchumane nasi on our social media platforms. We can't wait to hear from you. We are very, very eager to hear from you on what you have to say about this particular subject. Siyabuya khona nyalo saying at Market. Siphinde sinamukele kubekunene ke singaqhubeka futhi nenkulumo yethu futhi vele saphuma sibhabhadla sangena etitaladini seva ukuthi bathengi batsinga lenzaba asesive.
Okay, uyakwazi ukubudgetha na baba?
Hayi sesingahluleka mina ukubudget imali kahle njengoba ngisebenza ngemali everyday nje ngiyahluleka straight. Ngiyane ipasi anginalo, ngingayipasi ngisebenzisa umashonisa.
Mangaba desperate, obviously if kunomuntu omaziyo mibolekisana ngemali then uyakhona kuye kuthakboleka imali ngoba usuke ungenayo and uyidinga vele kompela. For maybe futhi njengoba baba kuvula ikolo abantwana abangena i-stationary, you had to vele uboleke imali, then obviously kumele ubhadale i-interest at the end of the month. Ayikho into eyenze njani.
Uyakwazi ukubudgetha na?
Yebo sisi. Ngiyasibudgetela minimally, angina ID, like angina account ne. So angikwazi ukubudgeta like ngiyebudget ebank, imali yami ngiyasibudgetela mina self.
Motho o desperate asana le tšhelete ena sa gone o budgeta a ka ikadima ka tšhelete ene maybe ha qualify mo di bank o tlo etsa jwang motho o?
Motho o jwalo for sure for nna setela ka ne. It's better than even lona le batho ba khona go kadima. As long o khona ba pay back. Ke bona e willing to grand eo. Tano tloitsa dikoloto for banking o etsa ntho tsa kaofela at the end to credit ga go tlowa ntho tsa kaofela di tlowa tlo tsena o gutlela back to ko tswang ko teng.
Imivo ke lehlukahlukene ke kubathengi labanyeni etitaladini. Let's take our first caller sinasiphiwe lapha ke Fryhead. Sakumukele Clarence Phiwe sawubona.
Yebo njani baba?
Siyaphila khuluma.
Siyaphila. Ngithi mina nami nginenkinga la eFriday kunogogo othatha imali kunomunye ibhuti omashonisa waseFriday. And then lo bhuti lo kusho ukuthi ugogo wahamba wathatha imali kuyena imali ngange 1,000 rand. Since 2017 ugogo yakho kanjalo 360 per month. Kwathi ngo2019 ugogo wamkhokhisa imali ngango 500 rand emholweni wakhe. Kwaze waphela 2019 manje ngo2020 on January kade uhola ugogo wathatha 1,000. Mangithi ngiyakulandelela ngifuna ukwazi ngepolice station bathe police station ukuthi ugogo wayenza i-agreement nomashonisa, that's why imali ugogo engezukuyithola.
Le agreement beyithini? Beyisho njalo vele ukuthi uthatha 360 ngenyanga?
No, i-agreement yakho ugogo yayithe u-100 u-25 100 u-25.
Okay, so namanje ugogo usaqhubeka usabhadala?
Namanje ugogo usaqhubeka usabhadala ngangokuthi ngize ngaya naku-Smokhlem Court e-Friday ngozama ukuthi ngicela belekelela ugogo ekutheni manje akasaholi even isent. Mangabe fanele ukuthi akhona ukuthi athenge ukudla akasakhona ukuthenga ukudla manje ngenxa yale mali. Uma uthi uyomholela wena njengomuntu wasekhaya okanye uthumela umntanami umzukulu wakhe kuba sengazuthi ingane khona imali evini ngagcina ngasukuma mina njengomuntu omdala ngiyocheck ukuthi kwenzakalani. Mawuya kulo bhubhi isigora nje Friday uyaziwa uyashayana. If you report a police station bafanele bekuthathele phansi nje lonto le. Bangakuthathe zifi serious.
Okay, Siphiwe sebakhulu ukusishayela. Siyathemba ukuthi ninterfecate taxita kulolu hlangothi. Yeah, Lee, just to translate for you, she's saying that her grandmother took up a loan of 1,000 rand from a loan shark, and then that was in 2017. Even today, she's still paying 360 rand each and every month, 2 years on. And the agreement was that out of every 100 rand of that 1,000 rand, she had to pay 25 rand. And I think it's a very prevalent situation. What kind of relief would Siphiwe's grandmother have?
Well, in that situation, it would be to contact the regulator. So obviously one will need to look at that. And I'm assuming that they'll have to approach the NCR to regulate, because the NCR registers credit providers, they regulate them and their conduct and so forth. So in that situation, clearly it's 25% interest per month, if I'm not mistaken, which is quite an exorbitant amount of interest to be paying on a loan of that amount. 1,000 rand to still be paying that amount. So clearly there's some sort of there's something happening that needs to be investigated further. Yeah. But that can only be investigated by the regulator.
Okay. Don't you think it's a criminal offence, Lebo?
Not really a criminal offence.
Ngoba uthi Siphiwe mashonisa lo naye bamsaba sigora lo.
Well, okuzodependa ukuthi uyenzani abathi yisigora. So we'll have to look at i-conduct yakhe. Firstly, sizobheka ukuthi u-registered na, because obviously uyabolekisa imali ucharge interest, he must be registered. So sizobheka leyo kuqala. And then secondly, sizobheka i-interest le ayicharge ama-consumers wakhe. And then futhi sizofuna i-agreement between ugogo naye. Sibheke ukuthi if it was in 2017, ngebe kudala ugogo asekaqedile ukubhadala, so ufanele ukuthi asibonise ukuthi umnikeze emalini ugogo ubhadale emalini thus far, and then if yena uthi umkolota malini iphi agreement le kade ibonisa ukuthi ngizokunikeza 1,000 rand uzongibhadala imali ethize and uzoceda nini ukumbhadala, because i-quotation iyabonisa ukuthi uyocala nini ukubhadala and uzogcina nini ukubhadala. So each and every credit provider fanele ukunikeze i-quotation ukuthi uzokhona ukuzibonela nawe. So uSiphiwe akasifonele asicontacte or asibhalele esingathanda ukuthi esimncedise ugogo.
Okay, ngiyathemba ukuthi ubelalele nje manje. Dithi inombolo tena.
It's 0860 627 627.
Cela uyiphindze futhi.
0860 627 627.
Okay, so in terms of lama interest vele, what do you recognize? Do you recognize ukuthi creditors athathe interest in installment? Normally interest ngayibhadala nje as a lump sum.
Kuyadependa as wena umthengi. Umthetho wethu uthi firstly uyasitshela ukuthi i-interest per type of agreement yini or per type of loan. So i-short term ezisishilo it's 5% per month. Okay. So uzokutshela ukuthi uzobhadala 5%, uyocala nini, uyoceda nini, this is your monthly installment. Then umthetho uyakuvumela ukuthi kulama short term agreements uyakhona ukuthi ubhadale even more. So if installments akho 100 rand per month uyakhona ukuthi ukhokhe even more. Uyakhona futhi ukuthi if unemali maybe uthole bonus or uwini lotto usettle that particular account earlier than expected to. So it's your right ukuthi ubhadale even before. So uyakhonakala in short.
All right. Now, Lee, for argument's sake, let's say I already have a credit agreement between me and my creditor. And then what if I don't understand the risks and the cost of the credit to me? Whose problem is it? Is it my problem, or is it the lender's problem for not having explained everything in detail? If so, does it constitute reckless lending?
Well, a credit provider is to ensure that a consumer understands the terms and conditions of the agreement, to understand the pre-quotation agreement in a language that they are familiar with. The documentation must be provided also in a language that they are familiar with. And it's up to the consumer at the time to ask the relevant questions. I mean, as a consumer as well, you need to be sure that you know what you're entering into. And if you're concerned about something, or that if you're nervous about something, my suggestion is do not sign it until you know exactly what it is that you are getting.
Okay.
And obviously, for one to prove whether or not a consumer was misled or did not understand means one going back to that situation. Now, the consumer has to ask himself, can I prove that I did not understand what I took at the time of signing that agreement? After having had use of the goods for 6 months, after having the goods for 3 or 4 months, I mean, which is why we tell consumers at the point of sale, ensure you ask all of the questions, all the relevant questions. If you're uncomfortable, step back.
So basically,
Take a second.
who bears the honors of, of asking questions or of explaining everything in detail?
It's a reciprocal duty, so it's upon the credit provider to explain everything into agreement, in terms of an agreement, but it's also upon a consumer to ensure that they understand what they're getting themselves into.
If they don't explain those details?
Then I mean, they would need to raise it at the time. But the question that I have to ask is, what does a consumer, or what options are open to a consumer who signs and then asks questions later? And it becomes quite difficult in the investigation process to go back to discover exactly what was said, what was understood, especially with regards to the goods at the time and the pre-quotation agreement. So if I can give one message to consumers is, ask all the questions you need, and at the point of sale, if you're uncomfortable, step back, don't sign the agreement until you, I mean, if you're unsure, step back, call the NCR, call the credit ombud, and put forth your situation. Ask them, is this the correct interest rate? Is the service fee correct? Do you think I should enter into the agreement based on these circumstances? And the relevant authority will guide you in that decision.
So if the creditor then does not produce or fails to produce a copy of the affordability assessment that they've undertaken on me, what then?
Well, the consumer is entitled to a copy of the agreement in terms of the Act, and if a credit provider fails to give a copy of that agreement, then they can escalate the complaint to either the National Credit Regulator or to our offices. Remember, the Credit Ombud we have our members who we regulate. So if it's part of our members, we can contact them and we will get them a copy of the agreement as soon as possible.
Okay, let's leave it there for now. Sasishakutele ke bekunene sengasetolo siyabuya khona nyalo. Leli Yilungelo Lakho. What are some of those challenges that result in a poor savings culture amongst consumers? Singathanda kuva leyo ndzaba. Kepha-ke singakakhulumi leyo, let's take our next caller sina Winnie. Ulapha ke Tsakane. Sawumola ehlelweni sawubona Winnie.
Yebo sawubona futhi kunjani?
Siyaphela kunjani ma? Ukhuluma nathi mama.
Yebo futhi ngicela ukuphawula nje kule eyomashonisa eyemali le eboleka abantu. Nami futhi ngiyabona ngiwomunye wabantu ababolekayo, angibolekisi ngiyaboleka. Sinenkinga, sikhona ukuthola imali emabhenki ngoba asisebenzi, asikhona ukuya kulama cash loan akhona, bafuna ama pay slip. Abantwana bayafunda. Umkhuba wenzakalayo lethe December, abantwana bamazange bathole ama-report esikoleni. Kwakhosa ukuthi ngeke omashonisa kulahleke i-stationery. Hlizana abaphungu ngisizakale kumashonisa ukuthi umntwana amakwazi ukuqhubekela kwelinye iclass. Mina ngingabablame ekugcineni bayasiza.
Uthi ke uhulumende ke in the form of i-National Credit Regulator mamwini kude lokurong abomashonisa kepha nje kumele baregister bayilandzele nayo le mithetho. So wena ke kulokuboleka abomashonisa bakho yini ke tinkinga lube nato?
Akukho lutho engibanika kona. Ngiyaya omashonisa bagcwele yonke indawo, i-section ne-section nezibrat zinabantu bakhona. Ufike uboleke imali umuntu uyakwazi, uyisakhamuzi wakhile, ubeka udaba lakho, angakuthathela ipasi, angakuthathela lutho, akunike imali akusize uhambe uyokwenza inkinga yakho. Bona thina siyabajabulela ngoba i-government thina sizakala sisebenzi. Ngaba bayeke omashonisa banika abantu imali, basinike basisize nasinenkinga. Ukuregister nakuweni siyazazana sonke empilweni. Ugijima kuphela isicathulo, ugijima kuphela imali, ungalithola usizo, kufuneka imali uhluleke.
Okay, Winnie, siyabonga kakhulu kusishayela. That's a very profound statement. Winnie is saying that please leave abomashonisa alone because that is where they rely on. Winnie is unemployed and she can't have access to bank loans.
Iyawuzwakala indaba kaMamwini ukuthi akasebenzi, but i-question yami ukuthi if akasebenzi uyombhatala kanjani umashonisa? The very same way le azobhatala umashonisa ngayo is the same way angabhatala a registered credit provider with. Umthetho angithi ukunama what's the abawulungisile umthetho wethu ukuthi even if awunayo i-payslip ungasebenzi uyakhona ukuthi maybe uyathengisa uMamwini uyakhona ukuthi maybe if awuna payslip awuna bank statement uyenza i-affidavit uye police station uyabatshela ukuthi mina engiyathengisa on a weekly basis ngithola imali ethize. That's what i-credit provider should use as a basis yokwenza i-affordability assessment, because inkinga ukuthi if ama-bank or ama-registered credit providers ayahala ukumnikeza, it's a risk and umashonisa is willing to take that risk at what cost? If akampatali, what will umashonisa do? It's a risk because uzoyifuna imali yakhe at the end of the day, what will they do?
So can registered financial providers or credit providers like emabhange, can they accept that? Nangabe maybe uyihoka or uthengisa emaveji?
Yes. Okay. Yes, abaya accept that as ngisho umthetho about amendile. That's what the word I was looking for. Ama amendments. If awunayo cause uyathola abo mama and abo baba kwama hawkers. So akanayo i-bank statement and akanayo i-payslip. So uyakhona ukuthi uyenze i-affidavit ye police station and uyobolekisa with that affidavit layo
okay.
Because you don't have any other document.
Okay. Now, Lee, we've just heard a caller saying that, with the unemployment levels in South Africa at diabolical levels, yes. So she's basically unemployed. So she's saying the government should leave these abomashonisa and loan sharks alone because that is where they depend for their livelihoods.
You must remember, as a consumer, you are not going to raise a complaint if it's working for you. I mean, you're only going to raise it if of course, you're in trouble or that you feel you're being overcharged. It's only those consumers that obviously will raise a complaint. So, I mean, the important thing to note is that it's just know what you're getting yourself into, because nobody is going to come and look for a complaint, or is rather going to come and ask you, listen, do you have 10 loans? How much are you paying? You as a consumer need to ask yourself, am I happy paying the higher interest rate? Do I continue on paying the higher interest rate? And if you want to obviously save on that, then you'll have to go to a registered credit provider and make that informed decision and follow the act and obviously produce certain documentation. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you are happy as a consumer paying the exorbitant rates, then there's nothing that anybody can do to prevent that. Okay. And it's something that will exist, unfortunately. So as a consumer, it's depending, what are you willing to pay? Are you willing to save on it? And I mean, do you want to pay the extra cost, or do you want your agreement to be regulated by an act that works for you?
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at some Facebook messages. Social media abomashonisa can be somewhat helpful to people who do not qualify for a bank loan, but I do not encourage people to borrow money from abomashonisa. Once you borrow from them, you're subjecting yourself to a lot of unfair interest payments and abuse if you fail to pay them. Be financially wise, so says Mbalenhle. Nazim Khudbum says, I don't know anything about budgeting. If I have money, I just use it at that time. Modiba Utsi, budgeting is simple. As a person, you have to avoid temptations. Now figure etitolo for unplanned stuff. Debit orders for saving money is very advisable. January to December, then you don't have to waste a lot come December time when you will be getting the full amounts back to yourself. Jigyon says, loans are draining. Rather learn how to budget instead of giving your ID or your SASA card to Bamoshanisa. It's very wrong. Tereshos from Hebron. Fani Utsi, I cannot budget because the money that I'm earning is for transport, municipal services, school fees, and foods only. Thank you so much for your Facebook messages. Let's take our next caller. Sina Aida, ulapha Pitoli. Sagumule hlelo nisabona mang Aida. Aida Pitoli, are you there? Welcome to the show. Sagumule, ma'am.
Hello, guys.
Siyaphila kunjani, ma'am?
Yes. Hello, ma. Hello, Baba. How are you?
I'm all right, Mama. How are you? What's on your mind?
I'm okay. Yes.
Talk to us, Mama. What's on your mind?
Yeah, bengifuna ukukhuluma ngetaba yamashonisa ne?
Yeah.
Yeah, na imali yamashonisa ingethile kakhulu. Umntanami ufundile because angisebenzi. Bemboleka umashonisa ngiyathengisa mangithola imali ngiyayikubhadala. Ibank irefusile ukumbhadala umphuhunsiza. So angazi ukuthi why iba issue, because they risking and we also risking. because government yona ifuna i-benefit.
Okay. So make njengoba uthi awusebenzi wena umbhadala kanjani mashonisa?
Sometimes business ayihambi kahle.
Okay.
Ayihambi kahle. Yeah. So
Nangabe ibhizinisi ingahambi kahle, since mashonisa vele utawufuna imali yakhe at the end of every month. So wenda njani ke lapho? Noma ke mashonisa wendani yena?
Yeah, ngiyam-explainela, uya understand.
Okay.
Uya understand, yes.
Okay. No, Ida sema kakhulu kushayela. Well, Ida is saying that, well, she's just echoing what we've been saying earlier on with regards to, gentleman's agreement, saying that even if she can't pay, she's also unemployed, by the way, even if she can't pay the loan shark, then there's a gentleman's agreement between the loan shark and her that, making an arrangement of paying at a later stage. So basically, she's supporting Abu Mashonisa. And I think there's nothing you can do to, to convince them otherwise.
I think abantu maybe abazi ukuthi even with your registered credit providers, if awukhona ukubhadala nabo uyakhulumisana nabo. So it's not ukuthi abo mashonisa kuphela abazovuma ukuthi ukhulumisana. Yeah, even with the banks. Uyakhona ukukhulumisana nabo nenze ama arrangement ukuthi uzobhadala nini at this month ubusabhedanyana. So it's not only abo mashonisa kuphela, and as Udli ashilo, it's only that now benefita. But at the end of the day, if uzothola sekangenile angasakhona ukuphuma, uzo-complainer because now it's benefiting her. And it's not about just gaining money from government. It's protecting our consumer because esuzwile gogo egasiphiwe ukuthi just by borrowing 1,000 ugogo sekangenile ubhadale imali eningi. So we are protecting those vulnerable consumers in terms of this act.
All right. Now, Lee, we'll get your comments and your thoughts after the break with regards to the Facebook messages and some of the callers. Nyalo ke beginene sasithatha ke Captain Fleck gcina siyabuya khona nyalo. Welcome back. Nyalo-ke sesiyayicucumbela ke inkulumo yethu ke yanamhla ye-reckless lending. Now, Lee, do you want to comment on some of the Facebook messages and some of the callers?
Yeah, for sure. We are at that part of the year where I'm sure a lot of people are entering into credit agreements. They are seeking money, especially whether regulated or non-regulated methods. But the important thing is, as to one of the people mentioned on the messages was that you need to budget. So the question is that how can you budget in such a struggling financial economy? We know that everybody's struggling financially at the moment. But the important thing to take away is that save as little as or as much as you can, no matter how little it is. Because that little that you save will go a long way. We know recently we had the cut in the interest rates. That will bring some sort of relief for consumers. So if you get any bit of extra money, put it away for a rainy day, put it away for the end of the month or for December and stuff. It'll prevent you the need from getting further credit and stuff. But if you do get the credit, ensure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Like I mentioned previously, that if you are happy with the way of getting credit, unregulated methods, then you will have to obviously be subject to the higher interest rates. But the Credit Act was created to protect consumers. And if you want to be part of that protection, then we suggest to consumers and to empower yourselves, understand what your rights are, and then go and approach a regulated entity that can provide the protection that you need.
Okay. All right, so let's take our last caller for the day. Sinathando ulapha ke Mbalenhle eMpumalanga. Sawumoya Nhlelo Nthando. Sawubona?
Yebo sabona njani?
Siyaphila kunjani baba?
Ngiyaphila futhi.
Khuluma nathi baba.
Ya uthando Zulu la Mbalenhle.
Khuluma nathi baba. What's on your mind?
Yeah, bafuna ikinga izo lento abomashonisa elathi if usekudeni ngayibona ngathi lento into elula lento lena izima labantu laba balifundele le business because uzothola umuntu ekugcineni akasakhona ukuphila ngaphandle kwamashonisa. I think labantu laba basebenzisa umuthi ukuze abantu bahlezi babuya kubo because khona umuntu ukuze rent egibele umholo wakhe wonke ikhadi lihlala kumashonisa, so makuphela inyanga kumele athathe imali enye in advance yokugibela rent yonke. So I think lento kumele ibhekwe ngenye indlela kahle kahle because abantu abasezenzi cabanga labantu babasebenzisela imithi.
Thando siyabonga kakhulu ukusishayela ke. Now Lee, just before we wrap the show, if I find myself having signed an agreement which I think, there's some unreasonableness in that particular agreement, so what's the first step? If I feel that there's been reckless lending, what do I do?
So the first thing to do is that to approach the credit provider, tell them your concerns, Our process that the Office of the Credit Ombudsman is to, the consumer must allow the credit provider 20 business days to investigate the matter. If after 20 business days you are unhappy with the outcome or if you do not receive any feedback, you can contact our offices and we can have a look at the agreement for you. Remember, we have a list of members that we investigate in terms of these sort of matters, and we can have a look at it and we can educate the consumer as well as investigate the complaint to determine if there is reckless lending.
Okay.
We have a free SMS service. It's 44786. You SMS us on 44786 and we will call you back and lodge the complaint.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to call our call center, it's 0861 66 2738.
Okay. Now, Lebo, your final thoughts?
Final thought yethu ukuthi if abathengi bayasola ukuthi bababoleka imali recklessly bangaza kithi we-National Credit Regulator bazocomplaina. Also laba abathathe i-loan no Shoprite, if bayasola ukuthi babanikeza recklessly bangaza, they are welcome. And inamba yethu ezingishilo 0860 627
0860
0860
Yeah.
627 627.
627.
Yeah,
My office in Agupi.
My office ase Midrand.
Okay. Lebo and Lee, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Quite an insightful conversation. Sifika kanjalo kubekene emaphethelweni ehlelo lethu namhla kuthiwa ke sisu sibekelwa ngaphandle. Asitamenge ngaloku lokuncane lesinako bekunene ukuthi silibekele leli kusasa siphume nya etkonetini. Many thanks to our guests for their valuable insights. Now the program repeats on Thursdays at 11 p.m. Uma kukhona ke indzaba lephuthumako lephathelene ke namalungelo ebathengi lofuna ukuthi sikuside ngayo, sishayele ke licingo noma kushile umlayeto ku Facebook. From me Simphiwe Ngwane and the rest of the team, have a blessed week. Cheers.
Aumela